Steve Harvey is one of the most respected comedians out there, but everything came crashing down for him after being involved in some shocking scandals, and you'll never believe why. Steve looks like a pretty nice guy, but in reality, things are not exactly as they seem. Just like any other TV host, he's in it for the views. And the most popularity his show gets, the more money he'll end up making. In 2016, he might have gotten a little bit too greedy when he pushed things way over the limit with one of his guests. He actually tricked and completely humiliated her in front of millions of people. The guest was Dominique Kohler, and her side of the story showed a part of Steve that not a lot of people were expecting to see. Dominique is a fitness model and a single mother, and she signed up to appear on the show to promote herself and also inspire other single mothers out there. But Steve had other plans for her. Dominique appeared on the show wearing a conservative dress, but the producers tricked her to change outfits, and she ended up wearing something much more proactive on stage. Steve also revealed proactive photos of her on his screen. He then asked the audience what they thought of her outfit choice, and that's where things started to go downhill. The audience called Dominique many horrible things and shamed her for revealing too much skin. The level of embarrassment was already too much to handle, and she didn't want to just storm out of the show and cause a scene, so the only choice she had was to awkwardly laugh and act as if everything was a joke. According to Dominique, the most humiliating part of all was after the show had ended. She was getting dressed in the fitting room when Steve suddenly showed up. He then handed her the underwear she was wearing before the show started. Clearly, Dominique was left without words and felt like she was stripped of her dignity. It was only thanks to her mother that blocked the episode from airing that saved Dominique from further embarrassment. However, she continued to seek revenge for what Steve had done to her by suing him for $2 million. When it comes to Steve, he has just decided to keep his mouth shut about this entire situation. A year later, one of his alleged staff emails was published, and fans discovered that Steve might just be as bad as Ellen DeGeneres when it comes to the way he treats his employees. The emails had some very weird and unnecessary rules that every one of Steve's employees had to follow. One of the rules was that no one was allowed to talk to him while he was walking down the hallways, and also while he was getting his makeup done. The email even included dozens of other rules on how employees should not disturb him, but Steve had a very strong excuse for why he decided to put these rules in the first place. According to him, they helped him get less distracted while working and also helped keep his mind clear before shooting a new episode. Even though Steve has been involved in countless other scandals throughout his career as a comedian, nothing compares to what he's done in his private life. Way before Steve could become famous, he used to work as an insurance salesman. This is when he met his first wife, Marcia Harvey. Everything was going great for them in the beginning, and they had twin daughters together, Brandy and Carly. But their quiet family life got destroyed shortly after welcoming their twins. As soon as Steve started gaining a lot of popularity as a comedian, Marcia completely changed her behavior towards him. She did not support Steve at all and thought that he was spending too much time away from her and his children. Marcia finally had enough and decided to separate from Steve in 1990. But what is even worse is that during this time, she was already pregnant with their third son, Broderick Jr. According to Marcia, the reason for the separation was because Steve was sleeping around with other women. In the following years, Steve and Marcia lived apart. The only thing that was connecting them were their marriage papers, so they both decided to file for divorce in 1994. In fact, when they filed for divorce, Steve was already living with his soon-to-be second wife, Mary Lee Harvey. After the divorce was finalized, Steve and Mary Lee didn't waste any time and quickly got married together and even welcomed their son, Winton, into the family. Fans thought the couple was happy and that Steve had finally found somebody to support him in his career, but that was far from what happened behind closed doors. In 2005, they decided to get divorced. At this time, Steve was not going to have it easy. His divorce from his second wife would end up haunting him for years. Mary Lee went on to upload a long video on YouTube explaining all the things that Steve had done to her throughout the course of their marriage. She revealed that he continuously cheated on her ever since they decided to tie the knot. She even admitted that Steve left her without any money after they split. Later on, she also revealed that he had attempted to falsify many documents in order to win the court case while they were getting divorced. According to Mary Lee, Steve owes her $50 million, and thanks to that, he deserves jail time for all the things he's done to her. Steve, on the other hand, only made things worse when he was interviewed shortly after the split. He said that there's a great reason why men cheat during a relationship, and went on to say that one of the reasons was the fact that there are plenty of women out there to cheat on. If that wasn't heartbreaking enough to listen to, Mary Lee was also devastated when she learned that their son Winton was primarily in Steve's care. In 2017, they made headlines again when she decided decided to open up about what she went through after the divorce. Mary Lee touched the hearts of viewers after expressing that her life was ruined the moment she decided to marry Steve. She said that soon after the divorce, her mental health started going downhill and she needed to get medication in order to start living a normal life again. But Steve seemed to not care at all about her situation. He quickly went on to marry his third wife, Marjorie, right after settling divorce with her. Steve and Marjorie had actually met many years before in a comedy club. Marjorie entered the show after it had already started and crawled up in the front row seat. When Steve saw this, he stopped and said that even though he doesn't know who she is, he will marry her someday. And what's crazy about all of this is that Steve was already married to Mary Lee at the time. The two reconnected after Steve's divorce was finalized, and they hit things off and eventually got married in 2007. But it seems that Steve didn't learn from his past mistakes and was allegedly spotted secretly meeting up with Kris Jenner. They allegedly started texting and setting up private meetings with each other. Now, just to be clear here, Kris and Steve have been friends for years now, but Marjorie wasn't going to tolerate him doing this. Since he has a long record of cheating, Marjorie threatened to divorce Steve in 2018 if he continued meeting Kris. Thankfully, they settled things between them and called off the divorce. But let's be honest, nothing is certain about what Kris and Steve have done behind closed doors. Many fans believe that they are just good friends with each other. Both of them attend the same events every once in a while and have never given any obvious signals that they are into each other. Hopefully, Steve has learned from the mistakes he's made in the past. It's really difficult to appear perfect all the time when you are that famous. Things are just going to go downhill every once in a while. It's inevitable. So what other things do you think Steve is hiding from the public eye? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here, and also stay tuned for many more videos.